A very good evening and a warm welcome to our second edition of UBC News Tonight on this 13th of June 2024. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto. Now, before we get into our news bulletin of the night, let's first take a look at the top stories tonight. President Museveni chairs a high command meeting. Minister of Finance Masika Kazimoto assures Ugandans of debt sustainability amid the 72.1 trillion budget. Museveni decries corruption, warns against unnecessary borrowing. And in sports, Uganda's youth team to Africa Youth Chess Championship flagged off. Good evening once again. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and Commander-in-Chief of the UPDF, retired General, presided over a high command meeting at State House in Entebbe to review the country's security situation and operations of the UPDF in the region. Top UPDF leadership attended the meeting, including Chief of Defense Forces General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Deputy CDF Lieutenant General Sam Okiding, Commander Land Forces Lieutenant General Kayanja Muhanga, Reserve Force Commander Lieutenant General Otema Awani, Commander Air Force Lieutenant General Charles Okidi, and SFC Commander Major General David Mugisha, alongside other service commanders and chiefs. Representatives from the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, including Minister Jacob Oboth, State Ministers Huda Oleru and Sarah Nyirabashitsi Mateke, and the Permanent Secretary, Ms. Rosette Biengoma, were also present at the meeting. The Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Masika Kazimoto, has defended the huge public debt which has of recent put the country on spotlight. This follows a record of 72.136 trillion shillings budget passed for the next financial year 2024-25 amid public debt standing of 0.368 trillion as of June 2024. Minister Kazimoto, while presenting the budget speech, assured the country of the debt sustainability through interventions to increase domestic revenue.
Budget for the financial year 2024-2025 is the fifth and final budget in the implementation of the National Development Plan 3. While presenting the 72.136 trillion budget speech, the Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Masika Kazimoto, first gave an account on the performance of the concluding financial year 2023-2024 budget, including the progress of the PDM and the factors which contributed to a resilient economic recovery.
The improved performance of the economy is on account of higher growth in all sectors. Services, agriculture, industry are estimated to grow at 6.6%, 5.1% and 5.8% respectively in financial year 23-24. In particular, growth in the services sector has been impressive, mainly driven by strong recovery in retail and wholesale trade.
But the performance comes at a glance of the public debt hitting 97.36 trillion by the end of June 2024. Minister Kazimoto is not worried as he breaks down the expenditure of the borrowed money.
We must raise more revenue and reduce reliance on borrowing and external grants. Those of us who go to borrow, they take us as if we are children. They look at you, go today, come tomorrow. Go today, No, we should really take a decision so that we can at least get a reasonable percentage.
Kasaija interests the public on the development of industrial parks, extension of the national backbone infrastructure, which has improved the quality of internet and communication, as well as investment in education and health, among others, in relation to the borrowed funds. In the pursuit to push the agenda of socio-economic transformation, as per the slogan of the 2021-2026 NRM term, government boosts of the presidential wealth creation programs like the PDM, Youth Livelihood and Emioga. Minister Kasaija reveals that more 1.059 trillion has been secured in the next financial year to ensure each parish of the 10,585 receives 100 million each under the PDM. This, according to Kasaija, will easily be monitored through the digital system dubbed Wendi app, which also will be rolled out to the other wealth creation programs
across the country. The introduction of the Wendi application by the government-owned Post Bank and its partners has saved beneficiaries the inconvenience of traveling long distances to open up bank accounts or withdraw their money.
Minister Kasaija also taps on the government initiative to boost the electricity distribution countrywide, where the connection to Karuma hydropower dam to the national grid has increased the transmission capacity by 600 megawatts from 1,378.7 megawatts to 1,978.1 megawatts. Accordingly, 982.56 billion has been provided to the energy development in the next financial year to, among others, increase the access to electricity distribution.
3. Improving the quality of power supply through systematic operation and maintenance of existing power infrastructure. 4. Increasing access to clean energy by supporting clean cooking technologies. 5. Development of 5 microgrid power plants using wind and solar hybrid in Karamoja.
Minister Matia Kasaija reveals a projected expansion of Uganda's GDP to shillings 225.5 trillion in the next financial year. This is equivalent to US dollars 60 billion. Kasaija highlights drivers which will aid the growth of the GDP, including increased investment in oil and gas activities, increase in tourism activities, and private investment growth supported by foreign direct investment, among others.
This growth will be driven by 1. Increased oil and gas activities as we move towards the first oil production in financial year 2025-26. 2. Growth in exports.
Another intervention, as per the budget speech, is the objective to facilitate the growth of e-mobility and affordability of electric cars and motorcycles in order to protect the environment, where the government has waived taxes to suppliers of electric motorcycles and vehicles. This is also in tandem with the government support to Kira Motors, as 32.5 billion has been secured in the next financial year to complete the plant.
I support the Kira Motors to construct and equip a magnificent 2,500 vehicles per year manufacturing plant in Jinja Industrial Park. This facility has capabilities for bus and truck body manufacture, vehicle painting, powertrain manufacture.
Efforts are now targeted to witness how the recent tax policy measures, as approved by both Parliament and Cabinet, will ensure that the targeted domestic revenue of 31.98 trillion is achieved towards the end of the next financial year 2024-2025. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
President Yoweri Museveni has decried corruption as the current stumbling block to Uganda's economic development. Museveni warns of unimaginable consequences for the corrupt, vowing to stamp the vice out of Uganda. This he sounded during the 2024-2025 financial year budget presentation at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, where he emphasized the need for prioritized as opposed to unnecessary borrowing.
It is evident that Uganda is on course towards economic progress. This has been affirmed by the country's President Yoweri Museveni during the budget reading for the coming financial year.
For me, I'm not waiting for the 2040, because they keep talking about the 2040. We shall catapult the economy to the size of the USD 500 billion. Why am I sure of this? It is because much of our economy today is comprised of raw materials that are in value nominally 10% of the value of the final products. By adding value to coffee, maize, forest products, minerals, etc., our economy will grow exponentially. You have seen the exports in this year. They grew by 38%. You saw the figures there which the minister was showing you.
Museveni emphasizes the need for reduced imports and increased exports.
Uganda importing furniture, you can imagine that? Importing furniture from Dubai, from India. Mama Janet here had to fight with those wonderful people in the Ministry of Education who were determined to buy furniture from India. Imagine, furniture in Entebbe also takes money outside. Money is taken to buy dead people's clothes from outside. That's what the Banyankore call clothes of dead people. They are called mtwijuro. So that's what we spend $800 million on imported textiles. The shirt I am putting on is made here, 100% Ugandan. This shirt here.
To achieve and consolidate this, it will take low-cost and quality production.
That's why the railway is our next big target. Railway for the goods, and especially for the goods, even people, but mainly for cargo. We must reactivate rail and water transport for cargo. We have repaired the old meter gauge from Maraba to Kampala and also from Tororo to Gulu Papach. We are going to start building the SGR, the standard gauge railway from Maraba to Kampala and Kampala to Mpondwe to Kasese.
One challenge, however, remains a stumbling block to these achievements: corruption. Museveni vows to crush the culprits.
So therefore, you should be very careful with some of these concepts. Some of them foreign, but some of them distorted. Like bail. You emphasize bail. Bail. Why do you emphasize bail? Why don't you emphasize trial so that we get the truth? That's what you should emphasize. Because when you talk of bail, you are playing in the hands of the enemy. The Bajankore will say, when the Banyankore said that, we are finished. He spent one night and came back. There was nothing, in other words. So he will not see your justice. You're talking justice that freedom in the Constitution, that's not, that's a foreign concept. It's not our concept. Our concept is a dog that steals pays with its back. So you must handle it quickly and decisively.
The president is also concerned over unnecessary borrowing, which he wants seriously checked.
Our debt GDP ratio before Corona was 30%. Very low. But some people pushed, and we found we had reached 40%. But I don't believe in borrowing. My view is that I don't believe in this borrowing. I believe in cutting our cloth according to our coat according to our cloth. And that's what we should be doing.
The theme for the forthcoming financial budget is full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening service, digital transformation, and market access. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now, ministers and members of parliament have appreciated the budget of 72 billion shillings for financial year 2024-25 that was read by the Minister of Finance, Masika Kazimoto, saying it highlights the government's priorities very well to help create wealth in the economy. The lion's share of the budget has gone to security, good governance and rule of law, which has been allocated 9.588 trillion shillings.
The Minister for Finance, Masika Kazimoto, has read a budget of financial year 2024-2025 of 72.1 trillion shillings during the second sitting of the first meeting of the fourth session of the 11th Parliament of Uganda. Government has a target to expand the size of the economy from about 50 billion shillings last year to 500 billion by 2040. It has identified 4 sectors through which to drive this growth. These include agro-industrialization, tourism development, mineral development, including oil and gas, and science, technology and innovation, including ICT. The Minister for Finance in charge of general duties, Lauryn Masika Kazimoto, emphasizes that government priorities have been clearly highlighted in the budget speech.
So explicit on the support we would like to give to the private sector, especially in lowering the 3 costs that affect business, mainly the electricity, the interest rates, and the transport cost.
Although human development is one of the things that government also looks at to boost the economy, education sector has been allocated 2.497 trillion shillings, and yet security has been allocated 9 trillion shillings.
Security remain paramount and remains the cornerstone of all our development agenda which we talk about. But that not being the case, also some things do not require a lot of cost.
Of course, the challenge of budgeting is that you have a small envelope which is being distributed in many sectors, so there is this competition. So we do what we call flagship budgeting, where we identify some areas that receive significant amounts of allocation.
I would so much like the government to put emphasis on education. In the area of education, yes, we are having more schools built, but the quality of education is wanting.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Chris Baryomonsi, also appreciated the budget that has been read and emphasized that ICT, as one of the priorities of government, needs to be added more funds. The sector has been allocated 246 billion shillings to continue developing ICT and digital transformation.
Wealth creation programs, but on the side of ICT, I think we are still paying lip service that we say ICT is a priority, but again we invest very little. And yet the ICT is the future. Therefore, we need to do re-engineering going forward and put more money in the area of ICT and digital transformation in order to realize faster transformation in this country.
The health sector has been allocated 2.9 trillion shillings, and the Minister for Health, Jane Cheng, expressed hope that when the economy continues to grow, her sector will be added more funds.
We have also been upgrading Health Center 2s to Health Center 3s to improve on maternal and child care. Definitely, the health sector needs a lot more money. But I want to believe that as the economy improves, and you heard very clearly how we must mobilize more revenue, but also generate our own oil, the health sector will be boosted even further. We realize the challenges we are facing. The most important thing is to prevent the diseases.
In the budget, URA is to collect domestic revenues amounting to 31.9 trillion shillings, of which 29.36 trillion will be tax revenues.
What we are going to do, I don't think URA is being put under too much pressure. If you look at the report today, our revenue to GDP ratio is still very low. There is no country that can work when you're collecting 13 or 14%. So we must educate our taxpayers, proving government has supported us with giving us the right technology we need, the right tools. Those tools like IFRIS, those tools like non-intrusive scanning, those tools like digital tracking solution are all things that make our work easier. So now if we can get the population to adopt to these technologies, then the revenue collection will be much easier. We will not just be hitting targets, we will be surpassing them.
The budget for 2024-2025 financial year was read under the theme Full Monetization of Uganda's Economy through Commercial Agriculture, Industrialization, Expanding and Broadening Services, Digital Transformation and Market Access. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabinji in Kampala.
Now, the members of public have expressed mixed reaction of the 72 trillion budget read today at the ceremonial grounds in Kololo. Some in downtown Kampala say that government has not been in their favor. Take a look.
Many downtown Kampala have voiced their dissatisfaction with the budget, citing an increase in fuel prices, which is going to negatively affect those in the transport sector.
So budget tebaddemu yadde kalungi gye tulinga ffe bana taxi era etunyigiriza nnyo era ffe kati amafuta kati nga nze nkolera ku mukono ngenda nva Kampala mpaka mukono badde nnyo emitwalo 6 costa kitegeeza nti kati ngenda kukozesa emitwalo gye sente 8
nti bwe bongeza amafuta ate abasabaze bo tetubongeza kuba bo tebabimanya ebyaki transport asigala nga bwali kitegeera singa bongeza amafuta ndaffe n'abasabaze ntubongeza twandibadde tukola ki.
Some individuals have called for greater involvement of locals in the budget preparation process, claiming they are often left in the dark about its contents.
Abakola budget nga tebatuukako gye tuli ffenna ne tubeera involved nga tukola budget bo bajabuzi ne batugamba budget sente bwezi bazongeza tebamanya sente gye ziva tebakoze research tebategedde business gye tukola naye bo bakola bukozi budget.
This is Michael Chris and Ayere Jacqueline, locals from Arua City.
Looking at today's budget, I think the government of Uganda should have focused more on investing in social overhead capital, that is human capital development. This stimulates directly productive activities which enhances the private sector or improves the private sector. The government should also consider putting up stronger legal frameworks that enforce accountability and promote principles of good governance, because it's through those loopholes that the little money that we have is stolen through corruption.
I didn't. Why? Because I don't attend on TV. I don't have TV in my house.
While some people are pleased with the 72 trillion budget, others believe it will have no significant impact on them.
I am happy with the budget. When you look at the human capital development, the budget has increased. I believe also there are some other offices that will be able to employ young people.
I don't think there is an impact on this budget, because since the elections we don't see anything. Food prices are increasing, allocation for agriculture is very low. So as the youth we don't see anything. That's why you see us here. We are all graduates.
A segment of the public has already begun increasing their product prices to cope up with the high taxes introduced, fearing they might be pushed out of business otherwise.
tutunda kilo 2 tugitunda emitwalo 1,300 ne katwe bagamba nti buli kilo bajongeddeko siringi 5 kitegeeza nti kilo 2 ziba zigeba bazongeddemu omutwalo mulamba kati omuntu abalitasobola kugula gumu kitundu
kati leero nga enkya ngenda mugamba nti budget yakyuse webiri kitundu kitegeeza nti business bagenda zitugobamu.
The budget was presented under the theme Full Monetization of the Ugandan Economy through Commercial Agriculture, Industrialization, Expanding and Broadening Services, Digital Transformation and Market Access. Justin Nakami, Downtown, Kampala.
Thank you, Justine. Now, of the 71.130 trillion budget that has been read today by the Finance Minister Masika Kazimoto, 37.819 trillion shillings has been set out to finance government programs, with human capital development, governance and security taking the lion's share. Mark Arnold Wadulo shares a breakdown of the program allocations as per the National Budget Financial Year 2024-25.
The total budget for the financial year 2024-25 amounts to 72.130 trillion shillings. Proposed program allocations are as follows. Human capital development, 9,964 billion shillings. Governance and security, 9,138 billion shillings. Integrated transport infrastructure and services, 5,194 billion shillings. Development plan implementation, 2,342 billion shillings. Private sector development, 2,075 billion shillings. Agro-industrialization, 1,672 billion shillings. Regional balanced development, 1,575 billion shillings. Sustainable energy development, 1,053 billion shillings. Legislation oversight and representation, 978 billion shillings. Sustainable petroleum development, 920.9 billion shillings. Natural resources, environment, climate change, land and water, 682.6 billion shillings. Administration of justice, 481.4 billion shillings. Tourism development, 404.9 billion shillings. Innovation, technology, development and transfer, 346.9 billion shillings. Sustainable urbanization and housing, 237 billion shillings. Digital transformation, 230.9 billion shillings. Manufacturing, 207.3 billion shillings. Public sector transformation, 200.5 billion shillings. Community mobilization and mindset change, 70.4 billion shillings. Mineral development, 41.6 billion shillings. All program allocations amount to 37,819,200 million shillings. Wadulo Makanold for UBC News in Kampala.
Thank you, Wadulo Mark Arnold. Now, the judiciary is to recruit 15 justices, including judges, to help in handling cases in commercial court. As per now, over 78 trillion Uganda shillings is stuck in commercial court due to case backlog. The issue at hand, the Permanent Secretary to the Judiciary, Dr. Pius Bigirimana, attributes to limited manpower in commercial court. Dr. Bigirimana communicated this to UBC television during an exclusive interview on how judiciary has spent 392 billion Uganda shillings, money which was allocated to the judiciary in the financial year 2023-2024.
In the financial year 2023-2024, out of over 5.7 trillion Ugandan shillings in the country's budget, judiciary was allocated 392 billion Ugandan shillings to deliver its services to Ugandans and manage its administrative functions. As the financial year ends, our focus is now on how judiciary has utilized the allocated funds. Dr. Pius Bigirimana, the Permanent Secretary to the Judiciary, highlights the recruitment of over 414 judicial officials, including non-judicial staff, using the 392 billion over the year.
3 justices of the Court of Appeal recruited, 11 judges of the High Court recruited, 6 acting registrars, 6 deputy registrars, 5 deputy assistant registrars, 2 chief magistrates, 1 principal magistrate grade 1, 2 senior magistrates grade 1, 87 magistrates grade 1s, and 289 administrative staff.
The funds have also helped in capacity building, which has somehow addressed the prolonged challenge of case backlog in the judiciary.
Judicial staff inducted and others attending short courses. We have also conducted out-of-station backlog sessions by the Court of Appeal, by the High Court and Magistrate Court. We also continue to automate our courts. Maintenance of electronic court case management information system is ongoing, and case completion has increased to 16.3%.
By utilizing alternative dispute resolution mechanisms and recruiting court mediators, the judiciary has been able to resolve cases more quickly.
Like pre-bargaining, which in the year 2023 had 2,857 cases disposed of. Mediation, which had 1,250 cases. We really want to be a center for ADR in Africa. We want to be leaders in this pre-bargaining and mediation.
Talking about how the judiciary has spent its funds in the financial year 2023-2024, the construction of Supreme Courts and Court of Appeal as well as other courts across the country can't go unnoticed.
The justices of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal are more motivated now. The facilities which are there are unparalleled. I think in Africa we must be the only country that has got such a court, and the savings that have been achieved as a result is going to be 6 billion every year. And we think that we shall save a lot of more money because of the conferences taking place here, the workshops, the seminars.
To build public trust and create a robust judiciary conducted open court days and implemented other initiatives to address the challenge of corruption.
Where the public was invited to ask questions, to get comments, to get explanation from the judiciary. And to me it was very successful. We're going to continue to have more of this nature so that the public can interact with us. We have also managed to buy vehicles for the justices and the judges so that they can visit locals, especially those cases which are related to land.
Although a lot has been achieved by the judiciary in the financial year 2023-2024, the arm has been, however, faced with challenges.
Finances have not come as expected, and we do understand the problems that the government has in collecting revenue. But we are saying that the little that has come has been put to the use that it was budgeted before. Secondly is the manpower. It's a challenge. Of course, we are trying so to fight the corruption. We have strengthened the inspectorate of courts. Compliance mechanisms have been put in place, and we are also collaborating with the partners in the local governments, civil society organizations.
In the financial year 2024-2025, out of over 72.3 trillion, the judiciary has been allocated 442 billion.
We are going to recruit 5 justices of the Court of Appeal. We are going to recruit 10 judges of the High Court. And specifically these 10 judges of the High Court will be assigned to handle commercial cases, which commercial cases have got cases worth 70, now coming down to 78 trillion. And those cases are in banking, they are in insurance. We believe that if these cases are handled, money goes into the economy, and the Ministry of Finance gets a little more money through non-tax revenue.
Apart from recruiting more judges and justices, the judiciary's intention in the financial year 2024-2025 is to construct over 10 courts across the country.
We intend to construct Guru and Mbarara courts of appeal, Rukunjiri, Tororo, Soroti, Aribatong, Budaka, Abim, Patongu we have finished, Nyarushanji, Busembatcha, Adwari. On top of that, we're going to continue with the programs of ADR.
Deborah Namamonde, Tanaba Kenneth, UBC News.
Morning time wao mwami wange nangamba yesterday bamukubiddeko essimu aba MTN nga bamugamba nti awangudde ssente school fees owa Andrew. In fact tuli awo nga tukyabuusabuusa naye nzikiriza mazima gamaze kulabako ate at the first nalinga ndowooza oba MTN balina ebintu byabwe bapanga nga sirabako ku neighbor wange nga bamukubidde kasimu. Twebaza abe MTN bannange okutuddizaawo bannaayo okuddiza guba mwoyo. Tweyanziza tweyanzeege omuzadde yenna ali eyo bannange ebintu bya ddala togaana kukikola kozesa MTN okusasula school fees w'omwana wo ng'onyiga star 165 star 80 ash banaye bya ddala si bya kyayi.
Together we're unstoppable. Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow with subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched in gold.
Welcome back from that break. In more news this evening, the European Union in Uganda has reaffirmed its commitment in advocating for good governance, children's rights and a corrupt-free society, as well as respecting the sovereignty of Uganda. This has been part of the Thursday engagement between the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, Bala Barugahara, and the EU Ambassador in Uganda, His Excellency Jan Sadek.
The State Minister in charge of Youth and Children Affairs, Dr. Bala Barugahara, has paid a courtesy call to the EU residents in Kololo. Received by the EU Ambassador to Uganda, His Excellency Jan Sadek, the two flanked by the EU-Uganda Sounding Board members convened for a closed-door meeting.
There are obviously three pillars for this. It's engagement to increase youth voices in policy and decision-making, empowerment.
The engagement really demanded the need to engage more youth in the political affairs of their country, as well as collaborating them into environmental protection campaign and development.
The safety and security concerns among the young people across Uganda, where we have seen political volatility and risks of violence, which have discouraged youth from participating in governance.
Just a couple of very important points that I take with you from your responses, Minister. This about tolerance and fairness in political life. This is something that I can testify to, that there is a polarization in political life in Uganda that sometimes leads to very sort of harsh language and so on. To be honest, it also leads to quite serious things on the government side. We have these detained opposition politicians that you have engaged yourself in favor of. So that's on the government side, and then there's the harsh language and the debate climate that sometimes...
I want to assure you, and I've told this to the new CDF, who's also a young man, and I spoke also with the IGP yesterday, that we need political inclusion, but the challenge we find as some young politicians are indisciplined, blocking roads, abusing people on social media, misusing social media.
For the meeting also carried discussions about corruption and other issues.
We are also looking at a new action because you mentioned, Honourable Minister, the importance of good governance, fight against corruption. There is a new action that is in the pipeline, and through that action we are going to work with selected government institutions.
So do not keep quiet when you see something wrong. I've complained several times. I come up and say, I don't want corruption. Someone comes to my inbox, you are annoying your friend. You are doing ABC. Then I said, is my friend making me happy? Are we sharing that road?
Minister Balam acknowledged the European Union's effort in strengthening ties with Uganda, as well as committing himself on behalf of government of Uganda to baptize their relationship.
I believe in fairness, and I want us to promote you and me. Let us say, please don't beat him. He has a voice. Listen to his voice. Work on what is disturbing him. What is your problem? I always believe that, and I've always told the president, whenever you give me a chance, don't invite me for tea and dinner. Allow me come along with someone who thinks is oppressed to air out his challenges. Once you hear their challenges, some of them can be addressed.
At a time when Uganda seems to be in a shake bed with some European communities, this engagement can be a good platform to renew the long-term relationship. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
UBC News tonight. The Lango Cultural Institution and its National Organizing Committee have announced the launch of an extensive fundraising campaign to support the upcoming coronation of Engineer Moses Michael Odongo Okune, the Won Nyachi-elect Paramount Chief of the Lango Cultural Institution, slated for November 2nd this year.
While unveiling the fundraising campaign at Hotel Fikana in Kampala, the government chief whip, Den Samson Obuwa, said the coronation of the paramount chief will advance cultural heritage and unity among the people of Lango. He implored the people of Lango and other members of the public to embrace the fundraising campaign.
Represents a significant moment for our community, marking the rise of a leader dedicated to preserving and advancing the cultural heritage and unity of the people. As a community of Lango, would wish to urge every member of our community, as well as our friends and allies within and without, to participate in this fundraising campaign.
The Secretary General of the Organizing Committee, OPU Acute, emphasized the importance of promoting culture to uphold social values and ensure social development.
The Lango journey did not start today. The Lango journey will not end with the coronation of the new Wonyachi. The Lango journey is a continuous event that is useful for all of us. We are talking about the heart. Peace in Lango is peace for Uganda, is peace for East Africa, is peace for nations surrounding us, peace for the entire world. Prosperity in Lango is prosperity for all. So we are here not just launching an event. We are here saying there is something happening in Lango which is significant for our overall good.
Over 2.80 billion shillings is required for the coronation event of the Lango Paramount Chief Engineer Moses Mike Odong Okun. Robert Katamba and Mike Wakabulindi reporting for UBC News.
Ministry of Education and Sports has been hailed for its sensitization that has attracted numbers into the technical and vocational education and training. This was highlighted during decentralized admissions for government sports to join these institutions in Western Uganda that is ongoing at UTC Bushenyi. The exercise that ends this Friday is expected to attract more than 5,000 applicants who are vying to join UTC Bushenyi and Kichwamba, among others.
With the TVET department increasing awareness through advertising, most people are now learning the importance of technical vocational education at tertiary level, which is not necessarily degrees. You know, it was in the past, people thought that the only way to succeed is in joining a university, but young people now are embracing technical courses at the tertiary level, and it is proving to be beneficial to most.
Thank the government for providing these facilities. Bushenyi is one of those well-equipped facilities as a way of support from government. We thank our minister for the initiative and allowing the decentralized admission processes, because it brought services closer to the people.
Bushenyi is a center for Midwestern. There is another center in Nakawa, Lira, and Gulu. So we have had a very successful exercise presided over by Assistant Commissioner in the Ministry of Education and Sports. We have so far interviewed 2,000 students who applied to join tertiary institutions, and today is our day 4. Today was specifically for A-level applicants. So the exercise is running on well, but we are overwhelmed by numbers.
In a commendable gesture, Light for the World, a non-governmental organization, has donated cutting-edge eye disease detection equipment to the Entebbe Grade B Referral Hospital. This significant contribution aims to enhance the hospital's capacity to serve the community's eye care needs. We have more details.
Entebbe Grade B Referral Hospital receives about 470 patients seeking eye care on a monthly basis. With this donation, the hospital endeavors to collaborate with the private partners to further improve its services.
In this case, Light for the World, we have been building capacity for the hospital in terms of management of this ophthalmology, in terms of providing ophthalmic services. And in this department, we have an ophthalmologist in the hospital. We have also ophthalmic clinical officers, and then we have also optometrists who are helping us in providing care for our patients.
Light for the World procured this equipment in response to the evolving technology landscape in the health sector. This equipment aims to bolster the hospital's capacity to enhance eye care services.
We've trained what we call ophthalmic clinical officers, who actually go out to the communities, identify people who need eye health treatment. They do basic treatment, they can prescribe some medicines, but for further examination, especially glasses and all that, then we've also trained and started a discipline in Makerere University in optometry. I think we've had about 4 cohorts. Our focus is mainly to support and strengthen the government health systems when it comes to eye health. And I know there are many other actors, but many of whom are also supporting the private sector, so that the two can actually bridge the gap that we do have in the country.
The Executive Director of Light for the World, Sylvester Kasozi, emphasized that the organization's commitment to fostering partnerships aims at community sensitization regarding eye hygiene and providing first aid whenever necessary.
To the public, we encourage you to come and have an eye checkup, and those with eye problems should come. Some can, if you come early, they can be actually corrected and you regain your eyesight. When you have sight, you're able to actually work and be able to be, you're able to generate income for your own self, for your family, but you're able to sustain yourself. So you participate in increasing the income within the country.
The partnership between Light for the World and Entebbe Grade B6 to collaborate with Makerere University to increase the number of experts in eye clinics, by ensuring sustainable eye care services for the community. Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC.
Also.
Oh, I like to know. Stay fresh. You wanna come preach and be my girl? Lighting. Lighting. I did make a light to know.
Welcome back, and now into the business scene, the first of several regional consultation and sensitization workshops on the Mining and Mineral Act 2022 targeting the artisanal and small-scale mining communities has been held at the eastern Ugandan border town of Busia. The initiative by the Ministry of Energy and Minerals Development and partners seeks to ensure that the country comes up with a formidable policy and law that can safeguard and protect artisanal and small-scale miners in the country.
Uganda's mining industry is dominated by artisanal and small-scale mining operations, benefiting over 1 million people directly and indirectly. However, there are concerns of the sector's informality. Busia district in the eastern region of the country is prominent for artisanal and small-scale mining gold operations.
These regulations aim at addressing two main challenges. One, exploitation, and then two, health challenges. Because most of the artisanal miners neglect the fact that they have access to mining without having the proper technologies, and this has health effects in the near future. The exploitation by the bigger investors and by the other big players in the mining sector should also be addressed in ensuring that one, they have good pay for the little that they are able to mine, but also two, are legally allowed to trade.
Fiona Nyamutoro, the State Minister for Minerals, emphasizes the push for the new regulations and formalization of the artisanal and small-scale mining sector is for the good of the sector players and the economy at large.
Over time, we got to appreciate that, one, these are Ugandans. They are also stakeholders in the mining sector because the resources belong to the country. And it is very important that even at the smallest level, as long as one is interested in the mining sector, they should be supported by government to be able to do so. And our hope is that they do not just end at being artisanal miners, but they can grow up the ranks.
We are going to have a beneficiation center here that is to demonstrate best mining practices to the miners and to encourage value addition so that they can receive more from the sector, and mineral markets where you have the buyer is there, the seller is there, and the miners can have markets for their mineral. What else? What more can the miners need other than having markets to their product?
Although government believes that the new legislation will catalyze ASM sector growth, improve working conditions and livelihoods, the mining community in Busia have contrasting views.
I think the old law was good, but it was not utilized. They should have just got what is missing in the other law and put. But now this new one, it's totally for themselves to enjoy. We are not agreeing with it because it is impossible. The commissioner was talking about 200 license which he has given away. To whom? I'm here in Busia. I'm a leader in the mining sector. I don't know anybody in Busia and Namaing who has got a license.
The element of money. Mining is an expensive venture, very expensive, and it has no static budget. But we have no access to money. You may have 100 million, use it in a few days or in a few weeks. You need equipment. The government is there to tax, but it is not giving us the best of what we would. And what we need is not free money per se.
The minerals mined by artisanal and small-scale mining include gold, tin, wolfram, tantalite, iron ore, gemstones, limestone, marble, pozzolana and salt, which are widely distributed throughout the country.
The forthcoming legal regime aims to transform Uganda's artisanal mining sector, ensuring that it plays a pivotal role in the country's social and economic development. Dennis Igoa, for UBC Business.
The Minister for Science and Technology, Monica Musenero, has announced Uganda's plan to start manufacturing electronics, beginning with phones and laptops. This initiative will take place at the newly established site in Namamve Industrial Park. Musenero addressed the common skepticism surrounding Uganda's capability to produce modern goods. She emphasized that the government has invested in the necessary technology to drive this development. Highlighting a significant step forward, the ministry has identified sand rich in silicon, a crucial component in electronics manufacturing.
And when we support it, we support the development, we support our own pride, we support our brothers and sisters to get jobs. And that is, for me, that's what we are working for.
They keep on advising you on how to grow your business until you become independent.
We are skilling these people to be used as a formidable force by the president to transform Uganda. That's why most of the skills we are targeting at are import substitution skills like shoemaking, carpentry, leather designing, bakery, metal fabrication, to see that most of the products that can be made here, we are building a force, a new army for the president to see that they go into production.
We come up with Chaz. Thank you.
Now into sports, the Caring Heart Schools Football Premier League continued with action that surprisingly ended in despair for the team that won on the day.
These were the scenes at the end of Aston Villa's 9-0 victory over Manchester United in the Caring Heart Schools Football Premier League played at Kagula Hill in Kakiri, Wakiso District. Unfortunately for the winning team, the celebrations were short-lived after they lost the points following a boardroom decision.
Yeah, they will lose the point because they have not used the right player. And those people, they will take 3 goals. They will give them 3 goals and 3 points.
This game was watched by a multitude of former footballers, highlighted by United Kingdom-based Godfrey Mukasa, who shone for Simba and Express FC in the 80s.
I think tulina kuddayo ba ku grassroots ne tu developing abasambi abasobola abayiga ne bayiga ebintu okuva mu buto ogenda nga bagenda tugenda tuba developing. Ate nze ninawo ekintu ekirala kyendaba nti mulowoleza nnyo mu bana abasambi abasamba professional nti be balungi bokka. Ate nga nze wano bwe ntunuulya empiira gya liigi wano ndaba nga abaana abasinga obungi abasamba wano mu liigi wansi basamba nnyo mu liigi. Kati tiimu nga Kitala otunuulya abaana basamba omupiira mu Kitala olaba nga basambira ddala webayi kati ng'eno naso ntiimu bwe yabaddewo basobola okusamba n'okusinga ku bana be mwajja ebweru.
Other former players in attendance were Leo Adra, Obadia Semakula, David Mugerwa, Godfrey Nyola, and the Caring Heart Victory Community Church leader, Pastor Paul Musisi.
Let's go back and scout, sport out, love the players at their tender age. Let's come back to the basics. Really, I think let each and every Ugandan play his role to develop the game. And maybe what I would request or appeal to FUFA fraternity or members is really let them allow everybody to contribute. Not everybody can be a FUFA president or a coach, but he can contribute. Allow people to contribute.
As it stands in the league, Liverpool is atop the 6-team log with 4 points, followed by Chelsea, Manchester United and Aston Villa on 3, while Manchester City and Arsenal have 0. Action continues next Wednesday with Manchester City playing Arsenal in an anticipated thriller.
Brand, now Braze Limited, has unveiled a 2-year partnership valued at 1 billion shillings with Pool Association of Uganda.
When we invest in an association, it's an investment. So last year we invested in the Pool Association of Uganda with their tournament alone. And we saw some good returns. People actually consumed our products while we were having this game. We saw an increase in our volume during the course of the tournament. So we decided if we invested that amount of money and we got this amount, if we invest more, it means we'll get more returns on the spot. That's what was our basis to invest in the game, this 1 billion.
The mega deal is expected to cover the league and the National Pool Open Championship that starts in July.
The league is very, very important in sports development because it's played over a long period of time. You work, you go, they beat you, or you beat somebody, you go and change tactics and come another weekend or another month. By the time you grow through that league period, it could be a year or half a year, you'll be a different player altogether. So I'm confident that with this sponsorship in the league and also in the National Open, that the players that are playing in the country will improve in their skill, but also as a federation that they will grow their fraternity, and I will not be surprised if we can't fit in Lugogo at the end of this year, if we have to get a bigger venue for it.
The 16 men and 8 women's teams in the league will automatically share out 72 million shillings annually, while the respective gender National Open champions will take a car with several prizes lined up along the way.
These are funds that are definitely going to support the game of pool and the players and the administration structures and the funds to see that the game grows, and to also see that the players who participate in this game benefit from the game. The clubs which nurture the talent of the players in the league also benefit from this sponsorship.
The Pool Association of Uganda National Open is arguably the most competitive single sport event on Uganda's sports calendar. It will be played at 320 venues and 40 centers, with more than 10,000 players expected before a triumph final that will bring 128 men and 32 women for the finals at Lugogo MTN Arena on November 16th, 2024.
Well, that's a story right there. The Pool Association of Uganda joining an elite class of those federations in Uganda that command $1 billion shillings sponsorship. And this is, of course, after Nile Breweries, through its Nile special brand, committed to 2 years to cover the league and the National Open. And that brings us to a close of tonight's edition of UBC News Tonight. Thank you so much for your company. Now, on behalf of the team working tirelessly behind the scene and myself, we do wish you a good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.